Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is G. Cole, and welcome to Homegrown, where I get to share with you some good music while talking to some great people. Hello world, I hope you're feeling as good as I am. I want to big up all my homegrown listeners and welcome all the new listeners. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so we can keep you updated when new material is available. We will be posting new episodes bi-weekly. Want to thank everyone who has been listening and sharing. Please leave us a comment, we'd love to hear from you. Please check out the website homegrownwithgcole.com to listen and for all things homegrown. The podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. We're very, very interactive. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MyGCole. The video of this interview is also available on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is episode 162. Today's episode is very special. I just got back from the wonderful island of Antigua and Barbuda, and I had an opportunity to just soak in the culture, the people, the vibe, the whole nine. It was amazing. Amazing. So today's show, I'm going to bring you some conversation. Had a conversation with Mr. Dean Fenton, the U.S. Director of Tourism for Antigua and Barbuda. Got a chance to sit down with Ms. Lynnette Kaid. Dope creative, entrepreneur, and just an overall dope human being, man. And I had an opportunity to sit down with the COO of Elite Island Resort, Mr. Larry Basham. All our conversations on today's episode were recorded at the Verandah Antigua Resort and Spas. A phenomenal property indeed. So I want to say thank you so much and large up, much respect, big up to all the staff there at the Verandah Resort and Spa. Shout out Hammock Cove also. Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode comes to you courtesy of Elite Island Resorts. Check them out at eliteislandresorts.com. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 162. Hello world, it is yours truly, G. Cole, Homegrown with G. Cole, and I am in a lovely, different location today. I am coming to you from the lovely, the beautiful island of Antigua. And of course, we are at the Verandah Resort and Spa. We are specifically in the Wavy Wicket. I'm saying all this because when you guys come, you got to come check it out, all right? Tell them I sent you. And today I've got the COO. You have no idea how difficult it is to track this man down. I had to send a black van out, throw the bag overhead and do the kidnapping thing. But it's not beyond or above me. I do it all the time. His name, ladies and gentlemen, is Larry. Some people say he just got a new name. It's the Caribbean Larry.
I'll take that.
You take that?
Sure.
How art thou?
So listen, there is no better and more esteemed person in the Caribbean to be kidnapped by than by G. Cole. Listen, if you're going to be kidnapped by somebody in the Caribbean, be kidnapped by somebody from the Caribbean who knows
True.
the island. And I've just got to say how thankful we are to have you here.
My pleasure.
To be able to get in front of your audience. And more importantly, I really hope you have a fantastic experience. We are in the midst of shooting brand new, incredible music videos of a week of amazing creative artists and talent and media folks here in Antigua. I would like to just very quickly give credit where credit's due to our good friend Causion, who's got some incredible new music coming out representing Antigua fantastically as always. I'd like to say thank you once again to G. Cole for coming down. And a very, very special thanks from all of us to the very hardworking folks with the Ministry of Tourism, which on these little islands is so important, for us to have collaboration and cooperation. And this week already, we've been blessed with meetings with Minister Max Fernandez, with Dean Fenton, with other fantastic members of the Antigua Barbuda Tourism Authority team. And man, what an awesome week to be on this beautiful island with all these amazing people. Fantastic.
I love it. And of course, we pride ourselves in our comfortable kidnappings of great people.
We
let's
do it. Let's do more.
We do this all the time. One thing I've noticed being here is this. We're on an island.
Sure.
Obviously, we are here, but we're not from here. But I do see a synergy, a genuine love between you and not just the island of Antigua, but the people of Antigua. Talk to me a little bit about that, where that comes from.
Well, you say we're not from here, G, but I'll tell you what, your show is called Homegrown. Mm-hmm. And Antigua, no offense to any other island in the Caribbean because they're all fantastic. But Antigua really is one of the most homegrown islands in the Caribbean, period. And it is that way because of the fantastic people and talent that we have in Antigua, but also because of how welcomed you feel as a visitor to Antigua. I've been very lucky to be working in Antigua from it was Christmas of 1999. Wow. Was my first trip down. And from the minute I stepped off the plane, as I told Caution a couple of years ago, you feel the weight of the world just kind of lift off your shoulders and you realize you're in a very special place. And that sentiment has been, turned into songs like Antigua Me Come From and Caribbean Vacation. And I'll tell you, man, it's such a homecoming every time we do land on the island of Antigua that I really can't imagine being and working anyplace else.
Wow. And this is all being recorded, so I can use it for evidence later on.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying pretty much is I can stay here. I don't have to go home.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate
part of the
that.
team.
I appreciate that. I've spent a lot of my life, my younger years, in the hotel, in and around the hotel industry and the hotel business. And most of this is just as a visitor, just seeing everything, what's going on around, right? And one thing I noticed also is the relationship between you and the staff, right? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We pride ourselves on being a actions speak louder than words type of an organization. And if you look at all of our hotels, you will see that we are very serious about creating very good, solid, long-term, sustainable opportunities for people regionally. Right. In particular for women, in particular for people who are from Antigua and from this region and from these islands who know it, and know it, live it, grew up here, and it's in their blood. And when you do that, you create a situation where you've got a very authentic experience for your guests. And, part of the magic of Antigua is that the guests come back year after year. They have their favorite bartenders, their favorite staff members. They develop these great relationships, like my friend Kaid, who's an up-and-coming everything. Filmmaker, very established singer, songwriter, musician. And she's been down to Antigua at least half a dozen times now, maybe more. And every time I come, she's got 15 new friends that she's got to run around and see as soon as she lands on the island.
Right.
And that speaks volumes about why people come to Antigua. It's not overblown. It's not overly touristy. It's very natural, and I think it's what people think about when they imagine the Caribbean, when they're sitting back late at night trying to figure out where to go on vacation. So if you are looking for that beautiful beach and wonderful destination, we're here for you. And more importantly, the staff and the team members that we have at these hotels that take care of our guests are really terrific, second to none. And please come on down and hang out.
Love that. And I must definitely attest to witnessing that too, because I've spoken to a couple of people just today alone, and they were from different places, right? Even though they're here. One final thing, because I know you got to go. As far as I'm concerned, every great person attributes their success, that greatness, to not just what's innate, but an inspiration. Sometimes that inspiration is an entity, sometimes a person. I know the late great, I'm going to call him, Rob Barrett, was one of those people to you. Talk to me a little bit about.
Yeah, Sir Rob Barrett was my friend, mentor, teacher, business partner for, over 26 years. And our families go way back. And he taught us a lot about how to do business, be successful, and create great experiences for people. And of course, Rob was the master at walking around and shaking everybody's hand. He was a friend to all he came in contact with. We miss him greatly. He continues to be inspiring. And we also, honor his final wish, which was, he was an animal lover at the end of the day. And Rob's final wish was that all good thoughts, donations, and anything that people can do to support the Antigua Barbuda Humane Society, and in particular, the Donkey Sanctuary. If that tells you anything about Rob Barrett, he was a champion of the underdog. Please come down, visit the Donkey Sanctuary and support it. But more importantly, support local artists like Caution, support the people of Antigua by coming down and hanging out, enjoying a vacation. So many good things going on this year, G. Cole. We've got Culinary Month, the month of May, and Antigua has fantastic local restaurants, chefs, and mixologists. Come down for Sailing Week in May. Come down for CHTA, the big tourism conference in June. Come down for Travel Agency Owners Month, which is going to happen in October.
Nice.
Come down for Carnival. Heck, come down just because it's Saturday and, have yourself a rum and Coke and a good time. I just can't say enough good things about the place. Of course, we're biased.
Hey, good bias. It's a good bias.
And last but not least, go online and listen to yourself some Caution. My personal favorite song, Born to be Dread, best of the best, all right? And get yourself in the mood for some island vibes, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Larry, and I want to say thank you so much, all right, for taking time out to hang out with us. We should have locked the door. That was my intention, but your people came in anyway, telling us you got to go. So it is what it is. We'll catch up at another time. Security, get them out.
Let's go make some tourism happen. Bye, guys.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Okay.
Much love. Much love. Yeah, man. That was Larry. We got more conversations coming for you from Antigua. And we got another special guest. Again, letting you know where I'm coming from. Antigua and Barbuda. The lovely, the Verandah is a resort. And we're right now at the Wavy Wicket. It's a vibe. Again, I'm here. You're not. But it's all good. All right? And I got Kaid in the building with me.
Yes, sir.
One of the most artistic, dope ones you're going to ever meet. All right? We're going to talk to her a little bit, find out what's going on, get into her story and whatnot. Now, I'm looking at the fit right now.
Yeah.
And then you let me know that this is your designs.
Yeah, well, this one specifically is done by my partner, Voodoo Faye. And we have an exclusive line called Kaid and Madelier, where we only do exclusive design. So from graphic art down to product design, fashion line. So, yeah.
So no two people end up with the same dress at a prom?
Not in
the same school, at least.
Yeah, maybe. It might be 10 out there. So if you see somebody, you might want to big them up.
I dig it.
We spent some time.
I love it.
We spent some time.
Let's dive into what you do, because it's a lot in terms of, all right, so oftentimes when you meet somebody and they say, okay, I make hats.
Yeah.
That's what they do, right? Some people say we make bracelets. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
You do a lot more than that. So take us down the road.
Yeah, the journey. So I'm at the moment I'm actually writing a part of my memoir, which is called. Can I say fuck?
Yeah, well, that's fine. Go ahead, but you gotta say it with some oomph, though.
Some oomph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called What the Fuck Do You Do? Because I feel like it's the
that's the name of the memoir.
Yes.
Yo, that's fire. I like that.
Because it is literally the thing people ask me the most. And even if I tell them, they still have no idea what I just told them. So it literally just becomes the thing, what the fuck do you do? So I wanted to sort of give life lessons and stories through my journey by this question. So it'll be, I don't know whenever I get done with it, because, I'm young and fabulous, and so there's plenty.
Which is why I wonder about memoirs. Don't people get into the memoirs when they get old?
See,
like 4 years of experience in this memoir.
Come on. This is fully what I'm against, right? Because I feel like old people got the best advantage in the world.
That's true.
They got no filter. They give zero fucks. And I feel like young people need to be on that.
No, you can't
I
be
feel
on
like we need to do
That's
that
earned,
a
though.
lot.
You got to have arthritis to get that. You know what I mean?
I'm there.
If you don't have the arthritis and the baby and the tiger bump, nah, you can't be.
I travel with patches.
Okay, all right. So you earned it. You're in. You're in.
Even at my youthful age,
right.
I have earned because I have done a lot. I specifically am what I call an entrepreneur. So I'm an artist entrepreneur. And I've been doing it probably since I was born in some way. I'm a natural and thank God gifted artist. So that thing won't leave me alone. But I have never believed in broke artistry.
For sure. For real.
So my natural entrepreneurial person just developed as so I'm actually very left-brained and right-brained. And so I build, I'm a creator of all kinds. So I have a small design company. And like I said, we do graphic design, we do product design, we do fashion line. And now I've built it to be a very exclusive thing to work with just a small few who want to do, who think big, who think different, who are completely out of the box. So I've recently done a number of logos, which we do not like to do because they get to be so standard. But I'm more like, if you want to see art, if you want to see something you can unpack layers of, because I'm so full of layers. And I think people are full of layers.
Right.
And so I like to capture in sound and vision, I like to capture layers and the complexity of people, sound, all things. How I got to Antigua through Larry Basham, who I think you interviewed time ago. We are long time friends. But I was working on a project that I had been thinking about for 10 years, and I never spoke about it until 2019. I did not want to be in the U.S. when 2020 came, so I went to Africa. And I was with a friend of mine, a bunch of creatives. We went out to a rose farm, like a 5,000-acre rose farm. It was crazy. And I was inspired to finally talk about this thing that was in my brain. And it's called The People's Moan. And I wanted to, I had been nagged, I don't know if it's spiritually, ancestrally, or all of it, creatively. I wanted to build a project that was really taking a modern day soundtrack to the Underground Railroad. That expands the transatlantic slave trade. So I wanted it to be a collaborative piece between the southern part of the U.S., the Caribbean, and West Africa.
Gotcha.
Right? Because that's, our basic track, basic track of life.
Right.
So I wanted to unpack this story, and I couldn't tell what the story would be, but I knew I wanted it to be a musical journey.
Right.
So in 2019, I'm there. My friend, who is a communication specialist, was like, I get it. Boom. She started writing it. Let's unpack this. And she said, you should immediately be on what I later would name the East African Soul Train, which was a train that they had revitalized to take this sort of slave route through many villages. And they would put 25 artists on this train of different mediums and do nothing for 3.5 weeks but create while this train went. Right? There was no agenda on what they would create. You just pack all these. And so this was actually the dream. And she's telling me that they were building this thing. She said, you must be on this train. Of course, 2020 hits and there's no getting on the train with even two people.
Right.
So I just happened to be talking to Larry, and he said, since the Caribbean is a part of the story, why don't you come and actually start unpacking the story in the Caribbean? So he actually was the first to give me the opportunity to come down and just really try and figure out what we were going to do with this. So I started bouncing around a number of the elite resorts which allowed me to be in Barbados, St. Lucia, the Grenadines, and then of course here in Antigua, to really start thinking about how I would make this story real. And we took a film crew. And I just started interviewing all of the artists and came across some really fascinating shit. Just lost genres of music. Because you think there's just reggae, or you think there's just soca.
A lot of stuff going on.
It's just so many things.
Cultural.
Because when you start drawing a line, this African connection, it moved with us. It never left us. It is so much of our story. And because it is so much of our story, it is the thing that makes us alike. And no matter what we've been told, the thing that my truest belief in how we heal and grow is together.
Unity, unification. Let me ask you this, because you're a creative, you're an artist, right? And we live in fast times. Right? I feel like artists like to move a little slow. Pace, soak it in, breathe it in. Right? And like you said, commercialism is something we don't want, but we need. We can't be broke, right? How do we stay true to what we're doing without going out to capitalism? And for example, you've got a dope piece right here, right? And you mentioned a lot of the stuff you create might be exclusive. But then, and I'm talking figuratively now, the Walmart concept comes and be like, well, let's duplicate this, you know, let's make 10,000 copies of it. And for lack of a better word, water down the feel of it, but you're going to expand the reach of it, right? Is that something that you battle with in terms as a creative, in terms of not having to compromise the artistry for the commercial side of it?
That's a complex unpacking, because I'll do the Walmart version under a different setting. I will license. The thing about being gangster in the business part, right? That's the thing. I'm not always living in my artist brain. I'm living in a brain which allow artists to thrive, right? And so some of us got to go do some shit to make sure the rest of us can get there.
Right.
If you understand Sankofa, right? If you understand our entire need, and what we were born with was to rise, look back, and grab somebody else. Right. So if you understand those things, then some of us were meant to go do some extra shit so that we can go get other people. We are, particularly the 13%, which I call us the Black American population, spend over $1 trillion a year. We got everything we need to do anything we want to do.
Right.
We just got to begin to unpack it differently. Right. And so as artists, I move slow. I was born in St. Louis. I was raised in Hawaii. Everything, and I live in New York. Everything about me is
none of those go together. You realize that, right? None of those go together.
I know. Don't it just make
none of that goes together?
So good, though.
It's like a bread sandwich. You know, there's 3 different types of bread. No meat. But I dig it though, because
I don't know how to feel about that.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I don't know how to feel about that. I ain't got no meat. No. You just threw me completely.
The geography.
Yeah, I understand.
The geography. Because when you think of it, you are from St. Louis.
Yes.
Right? Midwest.
Yes.
Grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right? Literally, lullaby. Right? New York, the busiest place in the world.
Yeah. And the belly of the beast.
And the belly of the beast.
Yes.
And then we have you here.
Yes.
Right? So all of these things are all these are part of you.
Yes.
Right? But none of them, you know, some people say like, I'm from New York, spent some time in Jersey, it's still a little, you know, LA, still got the hustle and bustle and all that, right? Yeah. But you've got the coolest, calmest, the oceans of Hawaii.
Yes.
And then you're openly dealing with the brutal, harsh environments of New York. It's bread on bread.
Yeah.
But talk to me about how that shapes you, though, because it prepares you. A lot of people are very well adept to surviving in particular environments, right? Not necessarily the other. You're either for New York or that kind of environment, or for a Hawaii kind of environment, but you're equally adept in all of those things. Talk to me a little bit about how that forms who you are.
Yeah, that, and I'll tie that into answering the artist question. How do I stay centered in my artistry? One of the most fantastic things about being born and raised in St. Louis is that is one of the hardest cities to date since I've been born. It's been in the murder capital top 5.
Right, grime, it's tough.
Before I was born through this day. I just got a call about a cousin of mine who was a couple weeks ago murdered over a phone charger. Like just crazy, like off the charts, like nonsensical shit.
Yeah.
But St. Louis made me unafraid of anything. That gave me a certain type of grit and a fearlessness. I was also raised, my family, we have our own religion, Christian denomination, but our own religion is 105 years old. Started by a Black woman in the late 1800s, right? She was unheard of, had masses of congregation, right? Several churches from Mississippi to St. Louis. So I come from a lineage where I am rooted in grit and spirituality. Right.
So I need you on the podcast. Okay, I need this is a different. We got to chop this up.
Yeah.
We got some unpacking.
It's a longer conversation, right?
Yeah, I need.
That's what I mean. That's what you see it when you see it.
But I love it though.
Most people can easily miss me because it looks like a thing on the outside. But this is the way I feel about humans.
The irony of that though is this: they can't miss you because the look on the outside
got that right,
is, you know what I mean? The look on it draws you in too. So it's the irony of it.
Yeah.
Man, we need to chop it up on the podcast. Talk to me a little bit about your you met Caution, and you listened to the music, and you see the vibe and the energy, what's going on right about now. Give me your feed on that, your take on that.
Yeah, man. So one of the beautiful things, as I said, I got to interview all of the massive artists, and still some here in Antigua I need to get at. But Caution was one of them, and certainly one of my favorite interviews here. What a beautiful soul, first of all. Really, and I'm not just saying that. As you can see, I don't do the bloated smoke, but I told you my zero filters. My 90-year-old self showed up real early. He is really one of more beautiful souls. And as I got to hear his story and listen to his story, I like catching people, as you know, I'm interviewing, so I like to just catch them in a moment. And I think the question I asked him was, I know when we go through hard times, we've all been there. This is a part of artistry, right? This is how we develop art and sharpen through fire and stone. So, and when you get there, there's gotta be a song that you gotta sing. And he really just started singing Thank You.
Wow.
Right there. And for me, it's the first time I heard it. And what a beautiful and emotional moment. And I'm glad I got to catch it in the raw that I did, because it also just showed me deeply who he is as a person.
Right.
How he loves his family, how he loves his God, how he wants so much for everybody.
Yeah.
This is a brother that'll do anything for you. That's
true.
And I don't want to put him out there and go asking for shit. But like, is a brother, he will.
I'm going to ask.
Yeah. He will give his heart if he can.
That is true.
You know, and for the time now, the few years that I've known him, I have had nothing but like some of the most genuine, loving, giving experiences. It was dope to watch him shoot his video yesterday. It is probably one of the more beautiful things I've seen shot in the Caribbean altogether. Notwithstanding my own shit, but so it's a lot of, and I like to see people in their cycles of life, right? This idea, I hate ageist people. You're never done until God says you're done. It ain't over until it's over.
Amen.
And you don't get to sing for the fat lady. Shut the fuck up. Everybody got an opportunity.
She got to sing when she feel like singing.
That's right. Everybody
all the verses,
got
all
an
the hooks.
opportunity to win.
Yeah.
And that is not held by a certain age or time. It really is held by spirit and experience.
Yeah.
And so, like, he inspires me. Like, he really, really, as just a learning and watching artist, I felt so inspired by.
You're dope, and you give off dope, and the people need to get in contact with you. Yeah. I'm gonna have the full convo, but we're gonna hit you up on social media.
So my personal, I must say I'm really bad at this, but Kaid, K-A-I-D, you hit that 3 times. So Kaid 3 times.
And you're good to go, right?
And you can
Triple Kaid.
Yeah, and so right now we're building out the social media for the People's Moan on Instagram. So you'll start to see all the clips, some dope artists from Barbados, some dope artists here in Antigua, St. Lucia, Jamaica, everywhere. And so we're about to start putting out a ton of those reels and some of the music. I just did a dope track. I don't know if there's a brother, his name is Brother Kevens, Kevens, living in Florida. You may know him from Guadeloupe. Yep. Family, he's from Guadeloupe. This brother, we just did a track together. He won't let me hear it. Can y'all ask him to let me hear the track? But people keep calling me and telling me the track is dope. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be one of the biggest releases for me coming out with Kevens.
Two eclectic artists. I love that.
Yes, he's a giant, isn't he?
He is. He's
I love it.
He's a dope eclectic artist too. And I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are too. So it's Kaid 3 times. Not say it like you.
Yeah.
It's Kaid 3 times.
Three
You understand?
times.
3 times. I want to thank you so much for sitting with me.
And let's do something.
Gotta.
Yeah.
We keep the link. We're gonna make it happen.
That's right.
All right. And as far as the artistry goes, I gotta figure out what piece I gotta get you to hook me up with before I get up out of here.
We got it.
All right, ladies and
Thank you,
gentlemen.
my brother. I love you.
It is Kaid. Much love. It's yours truly, G. Cole. We're in Antigua. You not. We're out. That was dope. Let's keep the party going. Coming to you again from the beautiful, beautiful location right here at the Wave of Wicked, the Verandah, the lovely, lovely island of Antigua and Barbuda. In the words of Kanye West, my life is great and I do dope stuff. I can't believe I'm quoting Kanye, but this is what I'm doing. Today's guest, special guest, have the honor and the privilege of talking to today, Mr. Dean Fenton, and he's the U.S. Director for Tourism for the island of Antigua and Barbuda. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
We got a nice little vibe going on for the past couple of days, hanging out with Caution and his team.
Yes.
I'm meeting a lot of your folks here in the island, artists, and there's a warmth and a spirit
Yes.
that comes with the island of Antigua and Barbuda. And you happen to have the task of representing, being the guy that Caution represents on the musical landscape and is that reggae ambassador. But I think they slapped on a logo on you too and say,
Yes.
hey, go forth onto the world and
Yeah.
spread the good news.
That is true.
How's that been going so far?
It's been going good. And this goes back to the inception of Antigua Come From song that he did. Elite team and Caution had invited us down to witness the unveiling of the song. I heard the song. People gave it a lot of likes. I saw the bigger vision.
Right.
We could use this as a television ad for Antigua, and that was one of the best things that ever came out of that
Wow.
whole song and being part of that
Right.
experience. So we hope to have some continuum with the second song.
Right.
And I'm actually thinking about, I was sitting with Caution just now and just saying to him, maybe this one could be a jingle. We
Right,
could
right,
use it
right.
in some of the ads that we're doing
Right.
for marketing.
Right.
So let's see what happens if he gives me the rights
Hey.
to do so.
I thought you
Yeah.
were going to say you were going to do a cameo, you know what I mean? Like them shirts off, running in the VC, Usher does it all the time, just pop up in people's videos.
The next one.
The next one?
Yeah.
But I love it. It's
Yeah.
patriotism is one thing, and I feel sometimes like patriotism is something that is instilled. It's not necessarily innate, but national pride, and that is innate sometimes, And as I speak to everybody across the globe about Antigua, the warmth comes there. It doesn't matter if I meet them in New York, where it's hustling and bustling. They slow down for me and the warmth is there. So Florida, where it's all, a little faux. When you talk to them, they slow down and give you the Antigua vibe. Talk to me a little bit about the culture, the spirit of the people of Antigua, because I think that is, we talk about the 365 and the beaches and stuff like that, but sometimes our best and most infinite resource is our people.
100%.
Talk to me a little bit about these folks.
100%. So, and that's a good observation. I don't matter how many 5-star resort a destination has, how many this they have, all this other fun stuff. It always begins with the people. The people is what make a destination what it is.
Right.
You hear people say, I'm not going back to such and such island because the people weren't nice. And then sometimes it could be an isolated incident as well.
Right.
When the constant theme is like, I want to go back to this island because I was treated so warmly with the people and so forth. And just going back to Caution and the music and everything. Even when I do a trade show in the States, you're facing thousands of people on a weekend, trying to get them to come to this beautiful destination. And what I have a formula. I have the music, I have the food,
Right.
and maybe some type of, arts
Right,
of the
right.
destination. Because when people say, what's that? And you can explain the food to them, it starts a conversation, right? And when they hear the music, it gives them a vibe, they want to come. And then when the people actually treat them well at those trade shows, it even, put a stamp of approval of what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I want to go here.
Right.
I want to taste this food again. I want to hear this music, this vibe. So, and Antigua really exemplifies that when it comes to the people. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the resorts here on Island, Joe Torre used to come here from the Yankees. They used to come here. And the gentleman that used to be in charge of him had gone on vacation.
Right.
Joe came in, asked for that gentleman. He wasn't there. Wow. And the manager of the gym was so smart. He said, you know what? I'm going to call this gentleman. I'm not going to use any names. And I'm going to tell him, look, come back, because Joe looks pretty saddened.
Right.
And I'll pay you for your vacation. And they did so. The next morning, Joe got up. He was there, and the whole vacation became better.
Wow.
So going back, it's a people all the time.
Yeah.
And what you put out to the guests when they come to this beautiful destination. You know, you show them love, you get love back. And they want to come back. So I think Antigua, for some reason, has understand that into some capacity, and it has worked for us thus far.
I love that. One thing I love about what you do, and not just love, but appreciate about what you do, is this: in anything we do, the appeal is there, the allure is there, but the appeal and the allure is here. Somebody's got to put these pieces together and get it to the masses,
100%.
right? And that sometimes takes so much effort. You know, I love it when people make things look easy.
Yeah.
You know, and you have on a nice hat and you got a shirt, and people think, oh, this guy get paid to go have a blast, but it's a lot of work.
They don't see it.
They don't see that.
They don't see that. The people only see the car.
Right.
They don't see the mechanics.
No.
You know, don't see all the stuff that's inside the engine.
Right.
You know, and my brother always said, like, to me, you know, you make it look so easy. It's like going into a phone booth, put on a cape and fly out. Right. And but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with tourism and what we try to do. You know, we're a small island destination. We don't have to spend like a lot of these big islands that have the pocket fret, like, you know, the Jamaican and so forth, and the DRs and these guys, they have millions and millions of dollars that they can throw back into tourism. We have to really be creative.
Right.
That's the word. You know, be creative and be able to compete at the same time. You know, we don't have as much foot soldiers on the ground as these guys do, but we find other ways to make sure we're relevant.
Right.
And that takes a lot of creativity with no money.
It does. And in the same breath that Bob said, don't make them fool you, right?
Yeah,
so they ain't doing it right.
Yeah.
You know, it's when it comes to the Caribbean, there's certain appeal. Some things are pop culture. Like you mentioned, there's certain islands, certain countries that roll off the tongue a lot easier for people all over.
100%.
Because one, they're bigger. People don't understand the dynamic of the Caribbean, that some islands are really small because they think of every island as small, which they kind of are, but there are islands that are way smaller than some, right? And over the years have had less traction just because of that. You know, the US would go in and film stuff and bring their infrastructure in there, and that's how we get exposed. But then there are these gems, Antigua and Barbuda being one of those gems, right? And I keep harping on, because I'm from Jamaica, and that hustle and bustle, it's almost like you spend time in New York a lot.
Yes.
So that hustle and bustle, you can take the New York person anywhere, you see the New York in them, the hustle and bustle.
Oh yeah.
But you are taking to them let's chill, let's enjoy life. You know, when you tell somebody that I'm hanging on these beaches, 365 beaches, you exemplify that.
Yes.
They see the cool, they feel the cool.
Yes.
But not only that, but they see and feel the sincerity. So, you know, everybody that's watching right now, when they walk in the streets of New York and they see you, I implore them to stop and ask you 500,000 questions about, I joke, let me not put these people come harass you. But but this is the man you got to talk to about Antigua and Barbuda. Now, I want to dive into something that I feel is very intricate and important to this island. It's music.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Soca, reggae, a vehicle, very prehensile. Something that can go further. You're sleeping, but somebody's listening on Spotify, iTunes. Talk to me a little bit more about not just the caution effect, but the correlation of the music and how that's going to take the island further than you can.
Going back to what I said initially when we spoke about how we use a formula, right? If somebody hear music for the first time, whether it's in French, Spanish, it's going to draw you in. You're going to want to understand what he just said.
Right.
What that means, you know? So music is not only a vehicle for people to immerse themselves into, but it's also storytelling. It also gives you a picture of the destination. Because most of the time people are singing about some things about what they know. Right? So going back to your question, I hope to use music as much as possible. Because again, you play a song, where's that song from? Who's the artist? And if it's Antigua, even better, right? So that could be used as a vehicle in so many ways for tourism. Like I said, we can use them as jingles.
Right.
You know, the world has changed. On our websites, anything.
Social media joint, yeah.
Everything ties into come back to. Hey, God had His angels playing music, right?
Right.
So everything comes back to music at the end of the day. The music and the food is what's gonna sell a destination and put a destination. The jerk chicken, for example, Jamaica.
Right.
It's always the reggae. It's always the calypso. It's storytelling.
Yeah.
You know. So
hooks, like the hook of a song.
So if anybody think it's gonna be something else,
right.
Everything has a foundation. It's always the music and the food,
right,
that's going to draw people to a destination. In many, beside the world travelers, right, the worldly travelers, I should say.
Right.
But it starts there with those two elements, in my opinion.
Right.
I could be wrong, but
I feel you. I'm a rearview mirror kind of guy too. Let's see what's going on. I talk to so many people and say, hey, if your younger self and your older self met, would the younger person be like, what are you doing? I never had any intention of you being there. Or are you that person who, from your child, your trajectory was where you are right now? When you were a kid, did you see yourself? Was there any imagination, anything at all, that you'd be doing what you're doing today?
No, if somebody had said this to me 20 years ago, I'll be doing this for my country and representing my country. I would say, yeah, okay. But, I left Antigua very young, like I said. Went to the States and, got into market research and all that fun stuff. And when this opportunity came about, I knew I was able to take Antigua as far as I could with what I knew. Being an island boy, and then growing up in the state, I had two worlds that I could identify with. So I knew how to reach those people over here.
Right.
I know how to reach these people over. As we speak, I'm actually in the process. Well, not in the process. I already did it. I developed a diaspora newsletter. There's over 40,000 people in the tri-state area in New York. And I'm saying to myself, this is suppressed revenue.
Right.
If these guys could only know what's going on in tourism, like especially young kids, they don't want to come back home and stay with mommy and daddy. They want to go to the fancy hotels. If I can tell them about that, about the new restaurants, if I can tell them about that, and all the fun things that's happening in Antigua,
right.
I think they'll be more inspired to come back in their droves, right? So that's one of my my tasks right now, to see how I can, tap into our diaspora and let them be aware that so many good things happen in Antigua. That would inspire them to really want to come back on vacation as opposed to going someplace else.
Love that. And then one more thing, all the other people who came by, Claudette, all those folks came by and they were singing and, singing their songs and whatnot, Caution and all that. You want to sing something for the masses?
I can't sing. I cannot sing. I wasn't.
It's not your thing?
I love music. I'm a music lover, but I can't sing.
Thought I was
a
going to
little bit of dancing. I probably can do it.
Well, listen, I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
And again, thank you so much for spreading the word to the masses because, again, Caribbean is a unit. We talk Antigua, we talk Jamaica, we talk whatever the case may be, but in the bigger scheme of things, when we're out in the world, we're representing the Caribbean,
100%.
Our brothers and sister islands. So thank you so much for doing that because, again, eyes that come to Antigua come everywhere else.
Absolutely.
And we share that. And one thing I would love for people to do a lot of times too is island folks going to vacation in other islands.
We're missing out.
Yeah.
We're missing out.
Yeah, everybody thinks, I gotta go to UK, Europe.
That's why it's called paradise.
Exactly.
You have to come back to paradise.
Come across and see how the others, your brothers and sisters live.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you so much, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Yep.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has indeed been a pleasure. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. Homegrown with G. Cole available everywhere. All right. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, be safe, be kind, and be good to each other. My name is G. Cole, and this is Homegrown.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
Remember, all the music played here on the podcast Homegrown with G. Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and all your digital retailers. Please support the artists.